Yo sub boys, this is Yazan here. Today we'll be learning how to properly deploy Buildozer and build applications, especially APKs, using this. So what we'll be using is a virtual box. As you can already guess, Buildozer only works on Linux. So Windows cannot do the work for us. Luckily, there is something called VirtualBox, an application that's capable to simulating and virtualizing the Linux system into our Windows. We'll be using this to run Ubuntu on our Windows, as I said previously. Then let's do this. I already have it open. You will find it in the description of this video. So let's click it. This is the official website for their application. There are other applications capable of doing this, but this is my favorite. We'll get to the download section. We click on Windows hosts, and there we go. I already have this installed, so I will just close it and get out of the download. Now the extension additions is very useful. We will need to download it right away. So why this is useful? Well, simply because we're gonna use it to copy and paste from one direction to other, from our host machine to the guest machine. You will see in a moment. Click this accept and you will be good to go to download this. So now we're over with this download. Let's go and open our VirtualBox application. Just gonna search for it. VirtualBox. Click. Okay, so when you download this for the first time, this is the screen that you will be introduced with. Click on this add and click the file that we downloaded previously, the guest hosts edition. It's already there for me, so I will skip this step. Now we need to install an actual machine to run it. So you've guessed it, we're going to Ubuntu's official website to get the ISO. It's the canonical official website right there. All you have to do is go to Ubuntu desktop and download the latest version they have. Currently for me it's 24.04.1. okay, hit that green download button. As you can see, 24.04.1, the LTS, and it will download for you. I've already downloaded this, so I'm gonna quit as well. And here's my file that I've downloaded. Great. So now we'll need to import this somehow into our VirtualBox. Okay, so how do we add a machine? Actually, click this machine tab and click on add. You see the machine tab, add. Now this will display the properties of our virtual machine. We'll need to specify a name. I usually leave it at Ubuntu, normal Ubuntu. I already have one there, but I'll do it again for the sake of this tutorial. The folder is where this is the name, this there is the V folder. This is where your virtual machine will live and take up space, so be careful where you place this on your desktop. So with this being done with, we're going to specify the ISO that we've downloaded. Okay, great, there it is. Okay, leave those alone, they are alright. Okay, now into the next step. We're going to create a username and password. I'll go with this name for the sake of this tutorial. Pick a password of your choice and leave those alone, they are good to go. Okay, so by the way, if you sometimes name a different name than Ubuntu, it could cause problems, so I suggest leaving it like that. Great. So now this is done. Now we align the RAMs that are going to be used. I usually put it somewhere around the middle in the green area. This will do good. Don't overdo it though, it might break your computer, and for the CPU as well, be frugal about it. Place it somewhere in the middle. Great. This is how many cores it will be using. The last step is to define how much storage it will take. I usually type around 30 to 35 gigabytes. It's up to you to decide. Great. Now let's click finish and it will open for us automatically. We don't click anything. The VirtualBox automatically detects and opens this ISO for us. We click enter to go into the Ubuntu boot. Usually this brings up the desktop manager and you need to click manually, but thankfully VirtualBox has already done it for us when we defined the username and password previously, so it has all those settings in and is going to use them automatically to register for us. We just sit back, relax, and watch the process going. Alright, there it is, the desktop. Now the installation screen should pop up in any second, and there it is. Well, I'm not connected to the internet, so I'll fix this in a moment. I'll be back soon once the installation is finished. Okay, so now that's over. We have our very first Ubuntu Linux desktop. Here, you type the password you've provided, and here we go. They're welcoming us to Ubuntu 24. Click next, skip, no, we're not sharing data, finish. So now that we're in the Ubuntu virtual machine, we'll figure out a way to make this whole Buildozer thing work. So let's see, I've written this solution text from what I've collected over the internet, scattered around GitHub, Discord servers, YouTube videos, all of this. So let's see what we have here. We'll be installing the guest additions we downloaded earlier. This is the first and the most important step. This is for sharing the clipboard between the host and the guest machine. So let's say you copy something in the Windows computer and you want to paste it here. So this is only possible with the additions, insert guest additions CD image. So we go up to devices, insert guest additions as a CD, and now it should pop up in a second. There we go. Well, we can see this is the latest version of GAs. Make sure yours is the same, 7.1.4 as for now. Okay, we're running this and we type our password. Oh great, so now it's telling us to install those dependencies, bzip2 and tar. So as you know, in Linux the terminal is our best friend, and because of this we're gonna pin this to our dash. I place it there. Okay, so you know that to install a package you type sudo apt install and the package name, in our case bzip and tar. Every space between two packages, it's like telling Python, or the terminal, sorry, that we want to install both this and this. I could say, for example, Python 3, and it will add it to the installation list, but now we don't want this. Type your password and yes. Y for yes. Great. So now we have those dependencies ready. Let's just go to the CD and run the software again. We'll click run. Again, our password. Installing the virtual guest additions. Okay, that's great. Yeah, the window will now resize for some reason, and that's an indication that it's working. Sweet. The log file is now contained. Okay, so press return to close the window, enter, and now we restart. Okay, and just a little thing to note here is after restarting you might encounter some weird glitches in the screen, and that's normal. That's a little compatibility issue in VirtualBox. Here it is again. It resized on its own. This is a good indication that our guest host additions have been installed. Okay, while this is launching, we could go to our virtual machine and go to Settings, Advanced, and see this shared clipboard. We want it to be bidirectional. This will be very handy for us. Okay, and okay. So we're back, and as you can see, it sometimes freezes, so all you got to do is size your window and it should fix it for you. Okay, so now we have done the most important part and the last part of VirtualBox. Now let's move to the Buildozer Dependencies. So what do we have here? Yes. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna work in Python. So Python 3, this is installed by default. As for today, it's 3.12.3, which is a very new version of Python. So what we can say is sudo apt install python 3 pip. Pip is the package manager for Python. It allows us to download from PyP site. Let me show you in a second. So if you're wondering what pip is, it's the package manager of this website, PyP. This website has all the packages we need. For example, Buildozer itself, it has Kivy, and all the Python packages that we're going to use today. So let's do this and install. As we can see here, we can quit the terminal because we're in Python 3 now and reopen it. Then sudo apt install python 3 pip. Your password, yes, Y for yes, and okay folks, we're done. Now pip is available to use. Pip, as you can see, pip install, pip download list, it lists the packages. Okay, so let's try pip install something like Kivy. And here comes the first problem. Externally managed environment. Now this is a new thing. Ubuntu didn't have this in the past, but now it's doing it, and we should fix this because it wants you to differentiate between the pip packages and the apt packages. So let's say we type, for example, the apt command. This command is a package, not from pip, but from the apt or apt. So to help us differentiate, Ubuntu decided that using the pip packages should be in a virtual environment. However, we want to break this and allow the usage of Python packages as apt packages. So do this by running this command. I will leave it in the description below, by the way, so you are free to go there and copy paste it. Okay. paste. See, so this is why the guest additions are useful, because it allows us to copy from our host machine to our guest machine, and we can paste it freely inside our terminal in our Ubuntu virtual machine. What does this actually do? Let's explore a little bit in our Ubuntu. We'll go to the File Explorer. We're going to show hidden files. The RM is for remove. We're removing something, but what is it exactly? We're going back to Ubuntu user library. It stands for library. The Python version, it depends on what you have. For me, it's 0.12. There it is. So one thing to change there is the version is 3.12. And let's scroll a tiny bit until we see this file, externally managed. This is the text file preventing our pip installation. So let's get rid of it. Okay, watch this. It's gone, just like that. Now let's try one more time to pip install Kivy. And there we go. Now Ubuntu is treating Kivy as an apt package and installing it to the .local directory. We'll check it out in a bit. But for now, let's install it. Great. So Kivy is one of the requirements for Buildozer to work. It installs the Kivy Garden add-on, and let's now install Buildozer itself. Great. And there we go. Interesting. So bear in mind that this file could recreate itself from time to time. So if you see this error again, you will have to use this command once more to remove the file from this destination, which is the externally managed. Okay. Pip install Buildozer and Kivy. We just did those. Alright. Let's see what Buildozer requires us to do. And yeah, skip this step. Now let's quit this actually and go Buildozer Android. Okay, this is the official documentation for the, should we call it a package? So let's target Android. So there they tell us to apt update and install all of these. So let's do this. Let's say I want to install those dependencies. Whoops, we fall into another one of those pesky errors. libtinfo5 not found. It's unable to locate this. Well, the reason behind this is because Ubuntu uses a certain server to update its packages, and this tool seems to be a legacy tool that is no longer supported by the official Ubuntu libraries, so we need to get it from an archive from somewhere. So back to the solution there and look, where will we find this? Great, I'll copy those. You can find them in the description below. And we're going to cd into the etc/sources.list. Let's make sure this is correct. .d /ubuntu. Ask me why I didn't copy it. For some reason my mind froze there. Sources. let's go there actually. cd slash there. Okay, now let's nano is the text editor of let's nano into this folder. Copy, paste. By the way, you paste with Ctrl-Shift-V, not Ctrl-V. Sweet. So now we can see those two images. We want to add new ones, so we go down and now we paste this in. Now we press Ctrl-O to write to the new file. We run into an error here. Well, that's because we didn't type sudo before our nano, so it doesn't have permission to edit our files. So let's go and fix this. We need to say nano ubuntu.sources. Now if we click paste and then Ctrl-O, we overwrite, and now this is allowed. Now let's try once more, and there we go. It's still unable to find it. Okay, so we need to do a sudo apt update to refresh the sources of Ubuntu. Let's do this. There we go. It's fetching those new sources. The Lunar Universe Archives. This is good. This is what we want. So now let's run this command again, and there we go. Now that's done. Let's move into the next step, which, according to the solution there, pay attention to this step because it's so important. So if you see, if I open the terminal and type buildozer, it says that buildozer command not found. We want to be able to access buildozer from anywhere from Ubuntu, not just its location from the Python libraries. So to fix this issue, we'll assign this directory to be in the path variable, and the path variable is the global location that is accessed whenever a command is typed. Let's say you type it from, or even if you open a terminal in, let's say, snaps, if you write a single command like apt from this location or this location, it will be triggers the same. Okay, but now for this reason, we'll need to assign this buildozer and every pip package to this path variable. So how do we do this? Now the most practical way to go around this issue is opening the terminal and nanoing the file. So let's explain what file it is and where it is located. As we can see, this .bashrc. This is like a file that holds the configuration of the terminal. When it launches, when we hit the terminal, it will take its configurations from this file. So we need to tell it to add the path of our buildozer and pip packages to the environment variable of path every time we open the terminal. So how do we do this? Well, simple. First of all, we are already in the home directory, so let's make sure we are by going to the home directory, right clicking and opening the terminal there. Now we simply type sudo nano .bashrc, our password, and there we go. So I've tried this multiple times before until I figured it out, and to navigate, use your middle mouse button, the scroll wheel, and go to the very bottom of this text file. And there we go. I was experimenting, so this is why it says test. Okay, so let's clear it and start all over again. So what are we gonna add is this: export path colons $path. Okay, so let's make sure right way. Sorry, equals. I'm used to CSS a bit, so equal to $path colons and the path we want to add. So where is it? We are going to add the .local. There we go, the bin, and those are the pip packages that we want to call or invoke from wherever we want on the Ubuntu computer. So we copy this path, we Ctrl+Shift+V to paste. Now we remove this space. Okay, so we're looking good. Export path equals $path colons. We start with this slash. It's important to specify that this is a path. /home /username /.local /bin. Okay, so now Ctrl+O, save, enter to overwrite the file. Now we need to log out, or better, we could restart to make sure this works. Close terminal. And after restart, let's try the Buildozer. Okay, great. Now let's try from the desktop, for example, which is also great. For insurance, I'll try in the videos folder, Buildozer. Okay, great. So what did we do right now? Let me explain. We added the whole pip packages into one path variable. So let's investigate the original file. Home, your username, local bin. See, this is all of your installed packages via pip. Whatever you install, it will be added there. So we added this file to the variable environment of path. So whenever we type a command from anywhere, it will go and search for the command there and apply it wherever the terminal is opened from. I hope what I said makes sense to you. Now say I want to import my Python file that I programmed with Kivy. So how do I do this? Well, going to devices, shared folders, create a shared folder. In this tab we need to click the plus sign. The folder path is other. Now you need to specify where you want your project. So I'll do this. I want them to be there in the PyCharm project. This is where I've made all the Python files test for this tutorial, so I'll place it there. Make it permanent and make it auto-mounted and hit this OK button and OK. Now let's eject this. It's not necessary, but I did it for this tutorial. So now we get this error, permission denied. So how do we go around this? Simple. We open terminal somewhere and we need to add ourselves to a group of users. Add user, ourselves, username is, to a group called vbox share folder. Now type password, and now we have been added to the group vbox shared folders. Now for this to take effect, we need to restart. So 1 second again. We are back, and now let's see. Here we go. Access is granted. So I'll go look for my project file and you do the same. Alright, so this is the project I will be working with. We have the Python file and the Kivy file and the extra MP3 files. Okay, so I think we'll rename this to main.py because this is required for Buildozer to detect it, but later I think after importing it I'll do that. So what we do is we select all of these files together. So we copy those, copy, we go into our files in the home and we make a new folder. Let's call it our Python project. Let's enter and paste. Great, so now we'll rename this Python file to main.py so that Buildozer can detect it. So we're getting close to finish there. Okay, so we have another group of dependencies for Buildozer, but worry not, those will be included in the description from that step where we added the Lunar Universe archives and updated with sudo apt update, and we'll install them there. So you can freely skip this step. Okay, so now we're supposedly ready to build our... Let's actually try... Okay, let me move this to trash. Let's open a terminal in our project folder and type buildozer init. This will initialize the Buildozer by creating this spec folder, which has the requirements in the properties. I'll say for now that I'm build it. So Buildozer v Android debug. This is the command used to build the application. We'll come back soon to it, but just see what happens. It's cloning into Python for Android, which is something good. It's downloading the NDK, the native development kit, which is a core component in the Android development. Okay, so this is gonna take some time, so I'll be back once it's over. We're back, and after NDK, it gives us this error. This path home alpha.build. Actually, let's open it. Home alpha is this, the place we're in right now. .buildozer Android platform, and there we go. There is something supposed to be here. See this zip? It's corrupted. It couldn't extract it with the zip command because, as we could see, unpacking the NDK, it could run it successfully with this .zip, but for some reason this one is corrupted. So what should we do? We need to manually download the latest command tools for Android. So Android Studios, sorry I can't type today, Studio command tools download. Yes, whatever. I don't know what language is this. It's because I'm using a VPN. So I want to download them. Android SDK command line tools. Yes, I know what this is. I won't take me to the build. Okay, so this is, we go to the Android Studio and we look for, we scroll to the bottom and we look for the command line tools only. This is just 100 megabytes. This won't be a problem for most of you. So we're in Linux, so we click this, we accept the terms, and we click download. Great. So this is over, downloaded. Let's show in folder. Let's extract it by double clicking the zip file and tackle this problem. So I found out that we need to replace the zip, rename this zip and place it there so that it's not corrupted. Let's do this. Sorry folks, the desktop just crashed for some reason. At what we were doing, we downloaded this zip file and we were talking about a corrupted .buildozer zip file in the Android SDK. So what should we do is we need to rename it, copy the name, okay, then go to our zip that we've downloaded. We need to rename it to exactly that, then delete the corrupted one and replace it with this one. Let's make sure the name is correct once more. Control V. Yep, it is. Now let's do the same to the folder of extraction. Rename and place it right there. So now let's try and build and see what happens. We need to open another window. We need to navigate to where our project is. There, we open a terminal and Buildozer. 1 second. -v Android, and let's see what goes. Okay, it still cannot detect it, so let's copy this path. Let's follow it. It's in the Android SDK. So there's supposed to be a file named tools. So let's actually rename this to whatever the console says, tools. Okay, let's do this. Rename to tools. Let me try this once more. Still cannot detect it. So let's see if we're in the right path. Platform, Android SDK, tools. So we need to extract those, move them, copy them rather, in this area. Now let's see what goes on. Okay, now this is working. So let's recap what we did there. In the home.buildozer Android platforms, there was in the Android SDK a corrupted zip file. So what we did, we went to the web browser, we went to Android Studio site, and we downloaded the latest command line tools. Okay, so we then opened the file, extracted it, placed both the zip file with the original name of the corrupted zip and the extracted version in there. We renamed the file extracted by this method to tools. We opened these tools and there was another file inside. We've moved its contents back there, so we have the following path: Buildozer, Android platforms, Android SDK, tools, and bin. Bin should be there so it can access the SDK-manager. This file, this is the not corrupted file. This is a very important step. This is why I'm highlighting it so much, because you need to understand what we did there. and just saying that this is a one-time process only. So every time you want to build another application, you just simply build it with Buildozer. You don't have to do any of this again. We've already downloaded the dependencies. We've set the variables to be permanent to the variable path. Now here I started building the APK, but normally you wouldn't do that before modifying the specs folder for your project. And we'll talk about this right now. Let's go to the specs. Here is the application specs, everything about it. You know what? I'll just wait to download this package, and then after explaining I'll clear the installation. Let's get out there. So I'd like to name my application something. This is the title. This is what the Android user will see when they open their phone on their board, whatever it's called. Anyway, homepage. This package name, and this is the package domain, is like the maker of the app the app package name. This is important for accessing files if you have sound files. We'll get into that. We're just explaining in the spec folder, because I'm assuming that you didn't click the Y like me and went on in the process. So let's keep on reading and explaining each of those sections. So source.dir, this is where the directory of the main.py lives, but since we've opened a terminal in the file location itself, so this is left as dot. Okay, this is another important one, is the included extensions. Py is for Py folders, PNG and JPEG are for JPEGs, Kivy is for the Kivy style files. So let's say I have an MP3. As you can see, I have an MP3. I want it to be included in the Buildozer build, so simply I go comma MP3. Okay, so what else do we have? We have source.exclude. This is when you want to exclude a directory from being placed to your project. This is usually used when you don't want extra libraries to be included. However, I haven't tinkered into this one yet. So let's read some more down there. Application version is, of course, is up to you. There's also, let's scroll a bit down to see. Yeah, full screen mode. If you want it to full screen or not, better leave those alone. What I'm looking for, however, is the requirement including, I should have missed it. There we go. This one, application requirements. This one is very important. Let's say you're building an app that contacts the server with requests. Requests is one of those libraries that are famous and well known in the Python world. So let me give you an example right there. Python. Well, this is a Kivy test I was doing, so let's say that I need to import a module. Import requests. So to tell the Kivy application that we want the requests module to be included in the building, simply type comma requests, or whatever the name of your package or module. For example, if I want to import another like PYGAME, yeah, I don't have it installed, but the PYGAME exists, and if I want to import it, simply type PYGAME. You can include as many as you want. You can also customize the splash art, which is simply the photo that appears while the application is loading. It lasts for like 3 seconds before your application launches. This is the icon, which should be 256 by 256, which is important. What else do we have here? Source.exclude. It is hashed, meaning it's ignored. However, if we want to activate this line, we just delete this, and as we can see, there are already some files put for us. We add to them those. We don't need bin twice. It's better to leave space, but it's optional. Like this. Don't forget to save with Control S. Also, a little something that we've done earlier is I've placed those requirements in the explanation place. So I'm an idiot, forgive me. You need to place the extra requirements there. Requirements equal the following. Okay, so that's that. So we're back, and finally it's over. APK, my app, whatever is available in the bin directory. It's done packaging. So let's go to this directory, bin, and boom, this is our application. It is slightly big, we'll fix that. 35, that's a lot. So you did see that I've clicked this and built my application. But wait a minute. Oh no, I want to change something in my application. For example, I want to call it ping pong. And I want the package to be pong. I want this to be com.myself. So are you telling me that I have to build this all over again? Nope. Well, let's say this. Let's try and running the build command once more. And this time I won't be skipping any parts. I want you to see for yourself that this time it will take way less time. Since you built your project, if you modify the same project, it will only take a few minutes to, or rather seconds, I think, let's see, to rebuild it and apply the changes. Okay, we're going somewhere. Interesting. It's taking some time, but it should be done sooner than later. Here we go, creating Android project. As you can see, the name there is Pong. This is the package name that we wrote earlier. Build successful, and there we go. Let's go to the bin folder. This is our new application, the Pong, as you can see, with the new name. This is the version name. This is the arches. This is the signature.apk. So now we know what those names are. Let's try some troubleshooting there. And as we can see, 35 megabytes is too much for a small application like this one. It has nothing but a paddle and a rectangle. So let's tweak this. Let's go back once more into the Buildozer specs. And something that I wanted to go over but left for this part of the video is Android Arch. These are the two arches that are included by default in Buildozer. The left one is ARM64 for 64-bit devices and the V7A for 32 bits. Now, each of those take up 15 megabytes of size. Those are what we call them the split APK. Split APK is to remain compatible on multiple versions of Android. So we'll delete the 64 bits and leave the V7A, which is the 32-bit support, because it's generic that it can work on multiple devices. I've tried this on a S23 Ultra and an A71, each running different versions of Android. The S is running the latest Android One UI, and my Android, which is the A71, is running the Android 10, which is pretty old, and it worked on both without any issue, so we'll leave it to that. Okay folks, just a quick addition that I decided to add to the video before publishing it is explaining how this step actually helps us lose that 15 megabytes. So let's go to the assets. Assets are the files that we include, like the let's take a look actually. Open. These are the Kivy style file, the MP3s that we imported, and so on. So now we have this library lib. Let's click it, and as you can see, each of those takes around, this takes 18 and this takes 17. This is for the 64-bit support for like newest Androids, and this is the 32-bit support. But the thing is, each has a copy of the libraries that Dozer includes. So if we there and here, you can see that both are taking extra space. They are repeated, and we want our application to run on most Androids out there. So this might not be the best practice to go around this, but if you want, or rather if you're desperate to have your size a bit reduced, you can go and delete this, and not deleting it from here, but actually going to the Ubuntu and going to the specs folder as we said, and removing the arch. There's the arch. There, and leaving it with just the V7A. This will reduce the size by 15 megabytes, and that's a reasonable size actually. So yeah. And then there is an error we haven't encountered, but sometimes people encounter this error. So it will say that there is a value error trying to write to a closed file. This is mainly because the NDK zip file has failed to download, and therefore is trying to like zip a file that doesn't simply exist. So we need to fix this by going to home. Actually, we're going back to Ubuntu home. Home, local. Where is it? So once more, lib, site packages, Buildozer, targets, Android. So again, let's go back. It's in the home, local, lib, Python, site packages, Buildozer, targets, and Android with Py. Open this with a text editor, and now I want you to click find and replace. You want to find the first word of repository. So the one that's above all, URL equals that. And see this word? You need to replace it with simply mdk in case this problem happens. Again, it's a value error, unable to write to a closed file. So to fix it, you need to replace this URL with this word repository, replace it with mdk. Hit save, Ctrl S, and you're good to go. I'm gonna undo the change, however, because I didn't encounter this problem. But if it does for you, then that's how you fix it. Okay, so before ending this video, I decided to do such a practical example. A bit advanced, but we'll do it anyways. So what is inside this main.py that I have? Let's check it out by opening this with a text editor. It's amazing how it supports Python already. It detects the from and the syntax of Python. So let's take a look at what we have here, and we can see the Kivy, that app, import app, you know, the basics of the Kivy. This was actually from the time when I was practicing this, as I'm new to this whole Python thing. It's been like a month in me learning this. Anyways, so let's see what other imports we have. We have PYGAME. If you don't know what PYGAME is, it's like a framework that has sound, ability to play sounds, to display images. Like, think of it as another Kivy, but another framework that is able to do a specific task. So what did we actually include in this file? Well, it's a ping pong game, a retro ping pong, and inside of there we want to, when the ball hits a paddle, it will play a sound. So that sound is those mp3 files. But the special thing about them is, unlike Windows, the location of the assets is not placed in just a relative location. It's an absolute directory inside the root of Android. So to access this directory, we'll need to type the following. We need the path for it to be /data/data/. Okay, so here's where the naming comes in. Remember when you stated in your Buildozer specs folder, right up there, your package name and domain? So the directory is built from package domain.package name. So that would be com.myself.pong, and then files, the app, and the, for example, pad.mp3. So let's try and fix it in our code. As you can see, it simply says pad.mp3. So let's do this /data, where it is, /data/data/ where is the, yep, com.myself. Copy this. I'm going to paste it in the path. Where is the path? Right there. Control V. Dot slash files slash app slash path.mp3. Now this should give us the correct path for the asset. Wherever you have a reference to this asset, you need to use this whole path. It's an absolute path or directory. Okay, so with that being said, the next thing that we need to take care of is an error about longinterpret.h. This file seems to be incompatible with the latest Python versions, so when including the where are they? The requirements there. We'll need a specific version of Python 3.10.12. We use the double equals to specify the required version. Let's do this. The Kivy would be the latest version, which is 2.3.0. Host Python 3 is also 3.10.12, so let's copy this and add it here. Okay, what else do we have? PyGenius equals to 1.5.0, so why don't we just add it as well? And PYGAME, which is also included already. And with that, we're good to go. We click Ctrl S to save these. If we want to compile the app and build it with the inclusion of PyGame, we go into our terminal, Dozer. If you have already built the app, you need to type the app clean. Then once more, we'll need Buildozer Android-V Android debug, and you click enter and build the app. This, what we did there, is to make the PyGame get the right dependencies, because it doesn't support the 3.12 Python or any of these that are on the latest version. Alright, so that's all what I have to say. I think I'll make another part where I'll be signing the APK. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please leave a like and don't forget to share it with your friends. See ya!